What is up, everybody? It is Kellen here from Start Your Systems, and welcome back to MX Bikes, where today we're going to be talking about the Beta 18 update. That is right, another beta dropped in the game. And this one, honestly, I don't really know which way we're going to kind of call it. I feel like every beta always has like a, this is the blank update. I feel like this one might be the third-person update, but this is just my opinion of it. I feel like other people might have a different opinion. So let's talk about a couple things. First of all, like I said, it's like a third-person update. The external view in the game now is much more editable, much more moddable, whatever you want to call it. This is the setting that I'm currently running with, but I can show you guys a couple different options with it, and then we'll kind of talk through kind of everything that is new with this update. And I'll apologize in advance that I'm going to probably look like garbage playing right now. I kind of got used to the game in first person because I was not happy with the third person camera in this game. So now this is me trying to like kind of relearn how to play third person in the game a little bit now that the camera's been updated. And it's not going to look too pretty, but we're going to try our best. So I like right off the bat, this is awesome because the third-person camera was something that I feel like needed to be fixed to generate a little bit more like newer players that were coming from console side. Like that's something that always attracted, I think, people to Sim is that the third-person aspects of Sim were very good. So this now having like a good third-person option, I feel like bodes well for it. So let's jump in and talk about it. It's really easy. You go into settings. It's under simulation now. And you can adjust your field of view how you so choose or want to. But this external view stuff over here is basically the biggest change, like I said. I think it starts you off here at distance 0 and height 0. Or no, what was it? Maybe height 50, maybe height 0 and distance, somewhere in there. But we'll just leave it all at 0 right now. And basically, I'm pretty sure what used to be the case here is there was no dynamic and no lock to bike, and it was always follow bike, and you couldn't change, obviously, any of the distance, height, or lateral offset. So if we go back to the game now, you can see, as we load up here, I think this is pretty much what the old third-person cam was like. Maybe a little bit higher. I think the height was higher, but you can see kind of how dynamic-wise it sticks a little bit more to the bike, and like when you lean over, into these corners, for example. No, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's not follow the bike. I got to go back and check this again. So settings, turn off follow bike, and I think distance must have been a little bit higher out, and height must have been somewhere more in the middle here. Let's just do that. Maybe this is what it was. But if you do the follow bike option off in this game, you can see that like when you would turn into the corner, the camera would stay very central, but the bike would kind of like turn off the center point of the camera a little bit, like almost like the wheels, I guess, are like the center point of the camera instead of the bike. So I like what they did with this update, which is basically make it so that the bike is more like the focal point, and this dynamic makes it so it's a little bit more fluid motion. I don't really like this lock to bike thing. I'll show you guys real quick kind of how this looks. It's not bad, but it's just one of those things that I feel like it sits a little bit too low to the ground in some areas. Like this is like as you go up hills and stuff like that, see how it's like really just like right behind the motorcycle, and then as you come down hills it kind of floats over, and like it's just it feels like you're on a roller coaster a little bit. So I don't really love that too much. That just feels weird. But yeah, this third person change so far to me is massive, and it's going to be really, really good. Like I said, for my settings, I'm leaving my FOV pretty much at the same, turning off lock to bike. And then distance, I think I was at like 40 or so, somewhere out here. I think I'll just do like 35 right now to be safe. And then height at 60. And for me, this seems to be the thing that feels the most natural, the most like it's, a good distance away from the bike. It feels a little bit more, like your standard arcade games used to be. And I like the way that like the fluid motion of it now isn't so herky-jerky to the machine, which is what the old third-person cam I feel like used to be like. So this is a really big W update, in my opinion, to add all these third-person options to make the external view in the game a lot better. And I'm satisfied with it. I really am. So I'm excited to see like what you guys think of this change. But let's go through a couple of the different options that are available now. So the external view, like I said, was kind of the biggest new piece that they were talking about here. But they also have a brakes volume setting, which I believe is under miscellaneous. Yeah, so brakes volume, see up here, we can change it now. A lot of people were upset with like how noisy the brakes were under brakes when they're squeaked a lot, so we could turn the brakes like all the way down. Like I'll just put it on like 20 now, so it's not super squeaky anymore. More realistic lighting, separate terrain detail setting. which I believe is under graphics now. And yes, so terrain detail, you have it on high, medium, low, whatever. We'll just leave it on high. Bike reset, delay server options. So I believe, I haven't played around with that at all because I don't own a server personally, but I believe the server owner now has the ability to, display how long you crash for, more or less. There's a terrain deformation user interface settings, which I've honestly not found yet. Let me see if I can find it real quick here, but I don't think it's going to be in here. I think it's going to be, if we return to pit, it'll be somewhere. But you can see the deformation at 1.0 now. Maybe it's under garage, general. I'm sure I'll find it at some point. But anyway, that is also included. And then option to remap the user interface keys as well. So basically what they tried to do or tried to accomplish with this update, from what Insane said in this beta launch, is kind of just like, oh, hold on. Let me see. I want to try to find exactly where he said here. So he says, Beta 18 is more of a QOL, quality of life update, than a physics update. There's plenty of new features, less loading times, and better error messaging. The fork simulation was fixed. The leg simulation has been partially fixed, and the track layers were fixed. And this probably made the tire simulation smoother and more predictable, probably causing the feel that the bikes feel different. But like I said, not a physics update per se, more of like a usability update with the game, which, like I said, I think for me, I'm going to call this the third-person update to the game. But overall, some good little detailed changes to the game that I think work out for the better. I still think that, they're working and making some things better. I really hope that they work on the netcode issues that they still have and make the ping and the offset issues a little bit more viewable, so that if you're watching in spectator cam, it's not a disaster. That's going to be one of those things that as soon as they figure all that out and iron out those details, I am right into the streaming game when it comes to broadcasting races in this game, 100%. But right now it still looks a little bit wonky, so I don't really love talking about the races that much, but we'll get there. So yeah, beta 18, like it's a good fix. There's a lot of other little fixes as well that I'm not going to go over through everything. If you guys want to like review the changelog, I'll go ahead and include a link so you guys can see all the changes that they made to the game. But it's a lot of little just kind of fixes and some things that they just tried to update and change and stuff like that. In that little message that I just talked about from Insane in the MXB Discord, that is basically the gist of some of the things that they were trying to tackle, but there's also some things that they were talked about in there with like mods compatibility and some technical things for some people that are more a little bit like technically inclined and want to know more stuff about it. So what I might end up doing is just in the description below, either link to the Discord or just type out the entire message that Insane put so you guys can read it all for yourself and get a little bit more details and information about it. But yeah, this is another big update to the game. Not massively in terms of the way the game plays or anything like that, but it does sound awesome that they tried to do a lot of things to improve load times, to make it a little bit more streamlined and make it a little bit user-friendly. Like they said, it's more of a quality of life update to the game, so that when you play it, you don't feel like, gosh, man, I've been loading into this server for 4 minutes and it still hasn't loaded, and all these bikes are loading and it takes a long time. Which is another thing I wanted to remind you. If you have the game through Steam, they make it abundantly clear in this Discord post that when you first load up the game, you might be a little bit confused because the game will not run. It'll say in Steam it is running, but like the actual window of the game will not open. That is essentially because it's starting to cache all of the stuff that you have, all the bikes and files and other things like that, so that when you do load it up into a server or load it up into the game, it's already there, and it's not one of those things that you need to reload every single time that you get into a server or get into a gameplay or something like that. That's like I said, they're trying to improve those load times to make it a little bit better user experience overall. So maybe third-person update is the wrong way to frame this beta 18 change. Maybe it's more of just like the user-friendliness update, which is always a good thing. Always a good thing that they're not just focusing on the physical implications of the game, but also making it so that the feedback given from the community about load times and latency and stuff like that is also something that they're focusing on. So I like to see the changes. I definitely love the third-person camera update, because for me, I could never ever quite gel with the third person that they had in this game. So this is something that I feel like I'm going to really try to play with a lot more and try to get more comfortable with, because I've always been a third-person guy. Like, as you guys know me from playing Sim, I'm more of a third-person player. and that was just coming from console games at a young age and getting used to the cam from behind and stuff like that. So I'm not saying for sure I'm going to switch over to third person full time just yet in this game, but I think this is something where I'll definitely play it in third person a lot more because it's something I'll be a little bit more used to now. And maybe in videos what I can do now is do third person and first person gameplay, because I feel like that's something that a lot of people like to see. Like, I still can play here in first person. I like this dynamic onboard view. For me personally, it works the best. But yeah, now I'm excited to experiment more with third person and find settings that I like and settings that work for me. And like I said, much needed improvement to the game. I've had a lot of people that I've known over the years that play in third person and just kind of got used to the camera, even though that they were not like big fans of the way it looked or felt or whatever. And now if you're a third person player or a gamer that is trying to get into bikes and only can play in third person, now you have an option to, really kind of find something that fits your mode of play the best, and you don't have to feel like it's more catered to the first person gamers, because it's a simulation game. It should be maybe a little bit better for the first person gamers, but there's third person people out here too that like to play and feel what it's like and feel that unique aspects of it as well. So good update. Awesome to see that there's some changes coming, and kind of excited to see what else they're going to have in the works here in the coming, I don't know, 6-7 months or whatever, with physics updates or anything like that to the game, because there's still some stuff that I know that they're trying to work on, at least so on is what I hear from the people that I'm closely associated with in this game. But we'll see. We'll see what changes are still to come. So that's the Beta 18 synopsis here in MX Bikes. If you guys have any more questions, comments, or concerns, please be sure to hit me up in the comment section below. I'm happy to try to answer them as best as I can. If you guys need help installing it or anything like that, I can also link you guys to the page that explains it on the MXB forum of how to install it. But I think most everybody here that watches these videos probably has the game through Steam now. So if you do, it's pretty easy. It'll just update for you eventually. But if you don't and you still have the standalone version of the game, I'll be sure to get you guys that info as well, so you guys can happily update and figure out how to update as well. So thanks guys for tuning in. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. As always, appreciate you guys stopping by and watching another video here on Start Your Systems. And we look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. So long for now.